Welcome back to the Just. Unfortunately, with every hot guy comes some not hot. And so we get to the not hot, and this is a guy who we talked about on last week, and we said, I want to buy low on him. I still want to buy low on him. But he's been proving me wrong, and it's frustrating. He's 1 for his last 19, 3 for his last 40. In the last 2 weeks, he has a 119 on base percentage with no home runs, only a single run scored, and a single RBI. He's got only 1 home run on the year and a 246 on base percentage. This has been an atrocious year, and I still believe I would buy low on Bo Bichette. Buy low on Bo. Buy low on Bo. It rhymes. It's great. It's perfect. And I'll tell you, you should still be buying low on Bo Bichette. It looks awful right now. What I told you last week looks terrible. I hope it gets better. I believe it will get better. I think their offense, the whole, has to get better. Maybe they're still in hockey season in Canada, and they feel like we know we're supposed to suck at hockey because they always do. So maybe they feel like we can't get going until hockey season is over. So maybe that like takes them to June. But I do think Bo Bichette's going to get going sooner or later. And you know what? This is actually good. Spin zone right here. Him having a 100 on base percentage in the last 2 weeks. This is good. If you're a Bo owner, don't trade him. Hold. If you're looking to trade, get some Bo Bichette in action up in here, get Bo Bichette. I'm telling you, he's going to be good. He's going to pick it up. There's just too much of a track record of him being good to not pick it up. He was traded in my league. He was traded for nothing. He's been that bad. He was traded for, I forget what it was. I vetoed the trade. I said, no, Bo's going to be great. Bo's going to pick it up. I believe in Bo. I forgot the rhyme I just said earlier. Shoot. Buy low, Bo. Buy low on Bo Bichette. That's what I'm telling you. All right. The other cold, because there's a couple of guys who have been cold, is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is 1 for his last 15 and only 2 for his last 37. He started off hot with his new team in Arizona, or not new team, but in Arizona, and now he's been awful. He has no home runs, no RBIs, no stolen bases, only 1 run scored in the last 2 weeks, and a .054 on base in the last 2 weeks. That's upsetting. This is a guy who's not supposed to be this bad. He's rostered in most leagues. As of 2 weeks ago, he was rostered in probably 95% of leagues. Now it's a little lower than that. I'm not sure what you do with him. We know Arizona is going through it a little bit. Obviously, we talked about Corbin Carroll a few times. I don't know what to tell you. This is a guy who should be a top 30 outfielder in fantasy baseball. And his season rank right now is 167th, and that's because of the hot start. Over the last month, he's ranked 600th in fantasy baseball. That is atrocious for Lourdes Gurriel, and I hope he can turn it around. Another guy who also should be a top 30 outfielder and has just been god-awful this year, and especially in the last, well, no, he was good to start the year also. Another guy who's just atrocious the last week. 0 for his last 18. 0 for, and a .53. It was .053 on base percentage. No home runs, no RBIs, no stolen bases, no runs scored. Michael Harris. It's funny. We talked about him. Somebody asked, hey, should I trade for Michael Harris? What should I do? Should I trade Michael Harris? We said, no, do not trade Michael Harris. Are you crazy? Hold on to Michael Harris. Sorry, buddy. Maybe you should have traded Michael Harris because this is not good. Not looking good for Mike. And it's not the type of guy I'd want to tell you to trade. I still wouldn't tell you to trade him, but not looking great. Another guy, Craig Kimbrell, and this is all year. He has a 13 ERA the last 2 weeks, a 4.5 whip. He does have 2 saves, but in 2 2/3 innings, 5 strikeouts. He's just blowing saves left and right. Every time he comes in, he's giving up runs. On the season, he's got almost a 4 ERA, 3.5 really. And so while the save numbers are good for the Orioles, at some point you wonder, are the Orioles going to move off of him as the closer? And that's where you could get in trouble. If you can get off of Craig Kimbrell, it's almost not even a buy low. It's almost like get out sooner rather than later, because maybe someone thinks that he's still going to be getting saves come June and July and August for the Orioles. I'm not so sure. They have other arms in that bullpen they can go to. And if he starts not getting the 9th inning, not getting the save opportunities, then he's worth nothing. Right now, he's still worth something. Still has 8 saves on the season. If he starts losing those save opportunities, forget it. You got to cut bait right away. So I would cut bait on Craig Kimbrell. I don't trust him. I don't think the Orioles are going to trust him in the long term. Even if it's July or August, they could make a trade for a closer, and that knocks him out of his spot. I really don't trust him. I really don't think the Orioles do. I would get rid, and you're not going to get a ton for him, but see if you can get at least anything, because it's better than getting nothing later. Another pitcher who's struggling is Framber Valdez. We mentioned the Astros earlier struggling as a whole, and obviously Justin Verlander. Well, here's another one. The last 2 weeks, 6.10 ERA in 10 innings, 8.44 ERA in the last week. He had 3 strikeouts in 5 and a third innings, so not terrible. On the season, still good numbers. 3.97 though. The ERA has ballooned a little bit, and the WHIP has gone up to 1.41. He'll turn it around, but just for the sake of the segment, buy low, sell high. He's cold. Or sorry, cold. Who's hot? Who's not? He's not hot. Another pitcher, again, who I believe in, is going to be great, has a great season, is having a great season. Last 2 weeks, hasn't been good. Logan Webb. 10 strikeouts in 7 2/3 innings is nice. No wins and a 9.39 ERA, 2.61 WHIP. So a couple of rough starts for Logan Webb and Framber Valdez. They'll be fine. I believe it. I believe they'll be fine. But just, again, for the sake of the who's hot, who's not segment, had to throw them in there. Now we get to buy low and sell high, and I keep mistakenly saying that, so I'm happy we're finally at this segment. I am buying the stock of Tanner Bybee. Cleveland's a good team. They win games. He's been not good this year. He started off the year strong. Since then, the last month, he has a 4.5 ERA, 4.67 ERA. He's still getting strikeout numbers, 39 strikeouts in 36 innings this year. He does have 2 wins. He just hasn't been himself. A 10.8 ERA over the last week, and his last start was really rough. So, again, not the greatest run right now for Tanner Bybee. I still believe in him as a starting pitcher for Cleveland that needs starting pitching. So I would buy low on Tanner Bybee. Now for my sell high, I will give you a guy who, unfortunately, if you're Vince D'Amato, you probably think this is who he is. He came up last year and shocked the world, was incredible. But he kind of fell off after that. And now this year, he started off slow, and he's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball lately. And that's Christopher Morel, who has 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and 4 runs in his last week alone, and a 367 on base. I just don't think that's this guy. A lot of if you look at his numbers on the season, 8 home runs, 24 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 21 runs scored. Those are huge production numbers. If you can pawn that off to someone, and again, I always say with the sell high, don't be afraid to be wrong. You might be wrong on some of these where you sell a guy and he continues to be great. But if you could get a haul for Christopher Morel, I don't think Christopher Morel is freaking Shohei Ohtani. You know what I mean? He's the number 3 fantasy ranked player in the last week behind Ohtani and Harper. So I don't think he's that. So my point is that if you can get a haul for him, if somebody's willing to overtrade for him, do it. Go get him. That's my point about Christopher Morel. That's when I say sell high, because I don't think he's going to be this. We know guys have up and downs. His numbers are going to even out, and I think that means, unfortunately for him, that his numbers are going to come down.